Springfield's new school superintendent tonight ahead of the first day of school on August 26th. Western Mass News reporter Glenn Kittle joining us live in Springfield with how that district under new leadership is dealing with the national teacher shortage and the changing landscape of education in Bay State schools. Glenn.
Yeah, Chris, in my conversation with Dr. Denal earlier today, she tells me that Springfield is just one of the many school districts across the nation dealing with a teacher shortage, and that's just one of many issues that she plans to address in her first term as superintendent of Springfield Public Schools. Back to school in the Bay State begins for many districts in less than 3 weeks. School systems across the U.S. feeling the effects of a nationwide teacher shortage. Springfield Public Schools' new superintendent, Dr. Sonia Denal, tells Western Mass News they are feeling the burden but pulling through.
Our HR department and our chief of HR, they're all doing an amazing job really looking at colleges, looking at recent graduates, partnering with Teach for America and Teach Western Mass to ensure that we're fully staffed on the first day of school.
Denal says it's pretty stiff competition when it comes to finding talent in the teaching world. School districts across the Bay State and over the border in Connecticut are making their case to sign the best teaching talent.
I really believe that in Springfield, you will not be alone. You'll feel fully supported. You will be available. You will be able to take advantage of professional development. You'll be able to have master teachers and coaches and mentors.
During a taping of Western Mass News Getting Answers with Dave Mattson on Thursday, Denal addressed the 21st century challenges for students as AI technology and the internet continue to change the game in the classroom.
The reality that we currently face as a nation concerning all the things that impact education with technology, social media, COVID. These are things that 30 years ago were unheard of, could not even conceive what a World Wide Web would be and how it would impact our lives.
Denal adds that early literacy, post-secondary school success are both things that she also plans to address as superintendent of Springfield Public Schools. Reporting live in Springfield, Glenn Kittle for Western Mass News.
Glenn, thanks for that live report. Holyoke Crews this